Guys, what's going on? Welcome to Serial at Midnight, the official YouTube channel of SerialAtMidnight.com. My name is Heath, and I'm glad you're here because in this video, we're going to talk about some horror movies that I haven't seen. You're like, what? Well, actually, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to show you, this is a stack of horror movies on disc that I've picked up over the last few months, maybe even longer than that, but I haven't seen them. See, every Halloween season, I have old faithful standbys of movies that I like to watch every single year, and we'll talk about those also during this month. But I also like to check out new things, and there's a lot of horror movies that I've just picked up recently on disc, and I haven't really had a chance to sit down and watch them yet. So I thought it'd be fun to kick off October here at Serial at Midnight and just show you the things that I will be watching this month. And they run the gamut from like bigger budget stuff or more popular movies to things that even I hadn't heard of before I picked them up. So let's just launch directly into it. I will be watching It Follows. Yes, I have It Follows on this cool steelbook packaging. Got this for a great price, but I haven't seen it. I haven't watched it. And I know that this is one that really freaks people out. So I will be watching It Follows for the first time this month. I will also be watching Monsters. Now, I don't know if we can technically consider this a horror movie, but I think it's close enough that we can pass it through on our Halloween movie marathon. This is the movie, it's directed by Gareth Edwards, and this is the movie that basically, I believe, got him the Godzilla job, directing Godzilla. It's a very small, low budget, I believe it was independent, an independent movie from 2010, where it's basically like, it's a monster movie where I don't think we really see the monsters. It's more about how people interact with the monsters. You can see they've added a sticker here that says, from the director of Godzilla. So I haven't seen this, and I will be checking this out for the first time this month. Also, this might surprise some of you longtime horror fans who come to Serial at Midnight to see my opinions on certain things. I've never seen Rawhead Rex. Never. So I did pick this up during a Kino sale. I don't remember exactly when. I think it was the last sale. Not the one like a month ago, but the one before that. And it's a very cool package. It's got this really sweet slipcase. It's got the alternate cover art. This is it's written by Clive Barker. So I'm expecting cool things. Maybe I'm trying to keep expectations manageable because I know this is a popular release and this is a popular movie, but I will be watching that for the first. I'm going to say that after every movie. I will be watching this for the first time. Okay, now we're going to start getting into some obscure stuff. Victims. This is from a label called Slasher Video. It's right here. I couldn't think of it. Slasher Video puts out really low budget movies. I'm going to show you the back. If you're easily offended, don't look at the back of this. There's no naked people or anything, but just so you can see the level of low budget that we're dealing with. This is often stuff that was straight to VHS back in the day. Looks like VHS. I think the source for some of these are VHS tapes. So while it is a Blu-ray, Slasher Video titles do not look very good. I believe that the guy that runs Slasher Video does what he can, but they're not great technical releases, but they are cheap releases, and they are sometimes the only way to see certain movies. So this is a movie, 4 girls alone in the desert. They all became his victims. I'm interested in it. I'm interested specifically. I love that early to mid 80s VHS horror stuff. I really like that. I will be checking out Spontaneous Combustion. This is a Brad Dourif movie. Well, it stars Brad Dourif. It's a Tobe Hooper film. Tobe Hooper, obviously the guy behind the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, behind Life Force, Poltergeist. Very talented director who we lost too young before his time. And this is a movie that I've never seen by him. And so I will be checking this one out. And then there's a whole story behind this. This is a Code Red Blu-ray release, and there's drama, but like somebody else is putting this out, and the guy that runs Code Red is like, I have the rights for this movie. How can they do this? So I have the Code Red version. There is another version coming out, but I got this at a great price. Through Dark Force DVD. If you guys aren't following Dark Force DVD and you like, or Dark Force Entertainment, and you like horror and things like that, they are they're affiliated with Code Red, but they're not. I don't think they're actually a subsidiary of Code Red. I think they're just kind of all working together, and I'm not exactly sure what the setup is, but Dark Force has been selling some Code Red titles very cheaply on their web store. That's how I picked up Devilfish, the Italian, the Lamberto Bava. I tweeted, or I put it out on Instagram. I haven't showed it in a video yet. I'll probably show my recent Code Red pickups in a separate video because they're all horror. But anyway, so that's that. And then here we're getting into things that I know nothing about. So this is a VCI disc version of Scream Theater, and it's got 2 movies on it. It's got Terror 10 Killer and The Last Slumber Party. The girls are dying for a good time. Do you see what they did there? These all are going to be very low budget 80s. You see a theme here. I really like the 80s VHS era horror. VCI did a sale some months ago. They were closing their Amazon store. VCI is they're a budget label. I mean, some of their stuff's $20. They have a good release of like White Zombie. They have a good release of I think they have Metropolis. No, Kino has. They have some decent Blu-ray releases of some classic horror movies, and some. I like them because they put a lot of westerns out that are not available through anybody else. But they were closing their Amazon store earlier this year, and like everything was about 75% off. So I was picking things up for $4 and $5 a piece, including some Blu-rays, which I'll show you in a minute. But this was one of them, and I was like, well, I'm willing to give this a shot. I have very low expectations. One of these movies is from 1986, and one of them is from 1988. So for what they are, I'll keep my expectations tempered. But I also picked up The Dark Power. This is another horror movie from the 80s, but this one actually has Lash LaRue, like the Western hero from the 50s, or he may have even been active in the 40s. I'm not sure when he started, but Lash LaRue is one of those vintage Western stars, and he makes, like, a lot of these guys at the end of their careers were doing things that I do not think they were proud of just to make ends meet. Enter The Dark Power. It was the first of 2 films that Lash LaRue was in for writer-director Phil Smoot. So if you've seen The Dark Power, I would love to know what you thought about it. I'll be checking it out this October. I picked up, this is another VCI. These are all VCI releases. This is a VCI Blu-ray of Satan's Cheerleaders. I think this is firmly exploitation. Horror might be minimal in this. I think it might be just an excuse to have cheerleaders do egregious things. But sometimes that's okay, right? So it's got Yvonne De Carlo in it. It's John Ireland, Yvonne De Carlo, John Carradine. Super huge fan of Yvonne De Carlo. Love Yvonne De Carlo. Lily Monster from The Munsters. Wonderful actress who was in some fantastic westerns in the 50s. Did The Monsters in the 60s, obviously. And then in the 80s did a ton of these low-budget horror movies. So I'll be checking this one out. And I will also be checking out the last... is this VCI? Yes, this is also VCI, but the City of the Dead Blu-ray. This is a 1960... mystery horror kind of a movie. It's got Christopher Lee in it, a very young and handsome looking Christopher Lee, if I do say so myself. So he probably didn't have the deep embedded Gandalf. I can't do it. So this, again, I know very little about this. I know that it's classic horror. I know that it has I believe it has a commentary by... Yeah, it's got a 2015 commentary by Bruce G. Hallenbeck, the filmmaker and he's an author. Yeah. And this was directed by John Moxey. John Moxey did a lot of British horror, independent, low-budget stuff in the 60s. And I tend to like John Moxey's stuff. So that ought to be fun. And then last but not least is this Kino Lorber Blu-ray of The Phantom from 10,000 Leagues. Just a cool monster from beneath the ocean kind of a movie. It is the cover says it all. That's it is what it is. I love Kino Lorber. I love, it's got a Trailers from Hell with Joe Dante. Joe Dante, the director of, Gremlins, would be the most famous one probably. But a ton of other cool stuff. So I have picked this up in a sale, have yet to watch it. This is the perfect time for that. I will also be delving further into the Hammer box set that I picked up. I've watched Oh, it's dusty. I've watched 2 of the movies so far. I watched She, which did not disappoint. It's not a horror movie. It's more like an adventure movie that takes place like in Africa. I think they're in Africa. I can't remember. Peter Cushing is in it. Christopher Lee, Ursula Andress. It's fun. I really wanted to see that movie, and it did not disappoint me. I've also watched The Nanny, that has Betty Davis in it, and that was not what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be like a pure horror movie, and it was not. It's more psychological, but pretty powerful, actually. It was really good. But the rest of these, like after that, I think we get into some, here, they're listed on the top. So, She and The Nanny, Dracula, Prince of Darkness is next, Plague of the Zombies, Rasputin the Mad Monk, The Reptile, The Witches. That's all coming up for Heath in October. I'll be digging really deep into this. So that's just the new things that I'll be watching. And there will be more, I'm sure. I'll be picking things up on sale. You know, there's great... Well, historically, there have been great sales in October, but things kind of seem to be slowing down as physical media kind of leaves stores like Best Buy and whoever else. Like even Walmart used to have huge Halloween displays for scary movies and stuff, and I think they've really gotten away from that because sales just aren't there enough to promote that much volume in their stores. But I will be keeping my eyes peeled for good horror deals. If I find some, I will be telling you about them, especially on social media, on Instagram, Serial Midnight, on Twitter, at Serial Midnight. So make sure you're in the loop for all the horror stuff, and I would love to know what you're going to be watching for the first time, or maybe for the second or third time. I would also love to know what kind of content do you want from Serial at Midnight this October. I definitely have things to talk about. I have things things that I'm excited to talk about with you for the Halloween season, but I don't know that I have 3 videos a week all October long. I don't know that I have all of that planned out or ready to go. So if you tell me what you're interested in, that would help out. I really want to do a spotlight on my favorite horror movies, so that is coming. We're going to talk some horror comics. We're going to talk some horror, some music stuff that I don't want to tip too blatantly. But what do you want to hear Serial at Midnight talk about? So just let me know in the comments below. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I do appreciate your time so much. The scary, ghouly season of Halloween is upon us, and it's going to be super fun, guys. So thank you so much, and I will catch you later.